Hello and welcome to another edition of For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest today is Lieutenant Commander Adam Williamson. It is his second time on the show, but it's been a couple of years. And we are here to talk about the United States Coast Guard Band. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
One of the best in the business, the United States Coast Guard Band. How can you not love them? You tour, you play everywhere, you play at the Coast Guard too, and you're the big cheese, you're the big boss of it, right?
I am the director of the United States Coast Guard Band, yes.
Yeah, well, congratulations on that. So tell me about the band, wherever you want to start. I'd like to talk about the history. How does it go all the way back from the beginning?
Well, it's a good time to talk about the history of the band. This year, 2016, we are celebrating our 90th anniversary.
Wow.
Our 90th season.
Not you personally.
Not me personally, no.
It'd be hard to conduct at this point. Yeah.
I don't age that well. No, but the band was formed in 1925 by Lieutenant Benter of the United States Navy Band, and John Philip Sousa, of course, and then also Walter Damrosch, who was then the conductor of the New York Philharmonic. And those guys got together, they created a band for the Coast Guard, and the rest is history. Yeah, the rest is history. We've been around ever since.
How was it decided that the Coast Guard needed a band? Did the other branches of the military, did they already have their bands in place?
They did. I think the Air Force is a younger service, so I don't think that they were around
those
quite
kids.
Yet, but yeah, right. But yeah, the other bands, I believe that they were all in existence. And you know, the Coast Guard it's by comparison a small service. There's 40-something thousand active duty Coast Guard people, I believe, but the band back then was very small, and the story goes that in one of the inaugural parades in the 1960s, the band marched by, and the president commented, "How come the Coast Guard band is so small?"
Wow.
And
you know what happened after that, right?
So we got bigger. In 1965, I believe, we were congressionally appointed one of the 5 United States premier military bands, which is quite an honor to hold that title. So, like you said, we're simply one of the best, if I do say so myself.
You absolutely can say that. So the president at the time thought the band was too small, and so did they added pieces or just more people playing the same instruments? They just wanted the band in general to be bigger, especially when you're out marching on parade, right?
Yeah, right. And even now, the band right now, we're 55 people large. There's 55.
But not all performing at once?
Sometimes performing at once. The concert band is 55. We have 2 sound engineers, so they're not on stage performing.
But do you have anyone that's like a standby kind of a thing, or
no? Okay. No, that's the thing. 55 is really the bare minimum number of people that it takes to run a concert military band. So we don't really have any redundancy at all.
So if the trombone player is out, what do you do?
Then we don't have a trombone player. That
changes the sound.
And that does change the sound, and parts go uncovered. It's a challenge that we manage to the best of our ability, but it's.
Is it a full-time job?
It's a full-time job, absolutely.
No kidding,
yeah.
Wow. So you practice a lot then?
We practice a lot. And actually my personal story is not exceptional by Coast Guard band standards, but like many people who take up an instrument, I started in 4th grade. I picked up my instrument, and around 8th grade I got really serious about it. I started practicing for hours a day.
That's early to be that serious about it.
Well, not, like I said, not for the Coast Guard band musicians.
Okay.
It's not really exceptional at all. And that continued through high school for me, and then I went to college. I was a music education and performance major at a music school.
So you kind of stayed within the music framework.
I knew what I was going to do with my life when I was 10 years old.
Yeah,
and I think most.
With my career, same way. So I can totally appreciate that.
So most musicians who have done well usually have a very similar story.
What is your instrument of choice for you?
I used to be a saxophonist.
Okay.
I spent my years.
Well, that's a cool instrument to play.
It's a cool instrument.
Because you could be in a jazz band. You could be in a band in a club.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You could do
That's
anything.
cool.
It's cool, and I remember.
It's like a trombone player. You're a saxophone player.
Yeah, right. I remember being in elementary school, and the teachers would pass out the request forms. What instrument do you want to play? And I just at the time I couldn't remember why anybody would want to play anything other than saxophone.
Maybe guitar is cool, not necessarily acoustic. If you could play like, you know, electric guitar,
Yeah, sure,
because then you'd be in a band no matter what. Then, but
Right.
sax is very cool.
Yeah.
All right, so you're on the
absolutely
right track at this point,
Right.
even at that young age. Love it.
is. Yeah. So after going to school for saxophone and music,
What school?
I went to, I did my undergraduate work at SUNY Potsdam, the Crane School of Music, way upstate New York, and I had started my master's degree at Indiana University, and I continued graduate work at the Hart School of Music at the University of Hartford, upstate a little bit.
I could see how you managed to make your way to the academy, right?
Yeah, right. So I, at some point along the way, I developed an interest in conducting, and I started taking it seriously. And
Now, what kind of a process is it to learn that? Because you can't just decide one day I want to conduct. I mean, you can, but you have to. You got to learn it, right?
Yeah, you do have to learn it, and it's an interesting. It's an interesting
Path to get there,
because you know, growing up as a musician and studying as an instrumentalist, you learn this language and you become fluent in this language.
Obviously, you can read music like the back of your hand.
Yeah, of course.
You know.
I mean, just like you would read a book, you
Right.
know. Yeah, there's definitely a proficiency, a literacy to that. But there's this really big change in that as an instrumentalist, you produce a sound, either solo or with other people. You actually produce a sound, and then as a conductor, your sole responsibility is to have other people sound together. As a conductor, you don't actually produce any sound at all.
No, but you have to. It all has to be put together. You are the, you know, you're the conductor, so it all you make it all happen. You know,
Yeah,
everybody plays their individual sound, but you're the one who brings it all together.
Right. I'm simultaneously the most and least important musician on the stage.
Now, when you officially become a conductor, does that you have to give up your instrument, right?
I did choose to give up my instrument. I wanted to completely dedicate myself to this. Not everybody does, but I felt like for me that was an important thing to do.
Because it's
So
kind of like
at a clean break.
you're halfway in, halfway out if you don't want to give it up because that's what you've been doing all your
Yeah,
life, but you want to conduct. Because technically, would that be the next step? And if you're playing an instrument and you're in a band, it really, especially like this, the Coast Guard band, is the next step up to conduct?
Not necessarily. It's a step. It's definitely a path, and it's one that I took. But people have wonderful careers as an instrumentalist, and some people are really gifted at creating new opportunities for themselves and interesting new platforms to share their musical abilities.
So what do you do when you decide that you want to be a conductor? What is you talked about the path? I mean, who do you say to the current conductor and say, "Hey, I'd like your job someday"?
Well,
because that's basically what you're doing. You know, there's only one guy besides you that's there. You know?
And I'm in that position now, and someday I will have to.
Someone's going to
leave.
take your job.
Yeah, right. And that's the
Some
way that
young
that it
punk
should
coming
be.
up, you know.
And it is. I do feel responsible to make sure that we have people who are qualified, who have the experience and the ability to.
Have you
be
noticed
able to
anybody
succeed.
interested kind of?
Oh yeah, there's.
Oh really?
Yeah, there's,
Man, there are
and-
people nipping at your heels already, huh? You're Tom Brady, and the next guy up wants
I
to be
see.
the
Yeah,
quarterback.
right.
You know. But that's great. But so then, what happened one day when they said you are now the man? Take the baton, so to speak, right?
Well, I mean, for me, it was a long process. I developed an interest in conducting, and I realized the steps that were necessary for me to even be in a position to be competitive for this job. So
It's kind of like right place, right time, too.
it's right place, right time. Yep. And
Gotta be a
it's,
little lucky.
Yeah. What is that saying about luck being the crossroads of,
Right,
of
right, and you were there.
opportunity and preparation. So I did a good, honest self-assessment, and realized the steps that I needed to take, and I took those steps. A lot of that was simply getting the education and training, and that's where the University of Hartford really came into play. It's it's a performance job, and actually the Coast Guard band musicians, they, you know, like I said before, they my story isn't remarkable. They all could tell you basically a very similar story from a young age, training, college.
You're all savants,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah, and almost most of the Coast Guard band musicians have a master's degree in their specific instrument and, you know, in performance. So trombone performance, a master's degree in trombone performance or clarinet performance, and there's
Not only talented but smart.
yes,
Every one of
they're
you.
very smart. They're, you know, you don't get to be in a position like, you know, like, you don't get to be in a premier military band by accident.
No.
It's a lifetime of dedication towards this.
So everybody's
towards this
passionate about it.
thing.
you know.
Everybody's incredibly passionate about it. And one of the things that I do tell people is that, you know, they ask me how my job is, and that question doesn't even make sense to me because it's not a job, and it's not even a career. It's a whole.
It's your
It's
life.
a life.
Yeah.
It really is. I mean, there's really no separation between me as a person and me as a musician. It's all wrapped up in one. I think simply because, you know, we started at such a young age, and it's been such an important part of my life for my whole life.
Perfect opportunity for us to take a break and come back. Why don't you give out the Coast Guard Band's website for
Sure.
people to go and learn more?
It's www.uscg.mil/band.
We'll make it easy. We'll put a graphic up on the screen
Great.
for people too.
Sounds good.
Lieutenant Commander Adam Williamson of the United States Coast Guard Band. We've got a lot more to get into. We talked a lot about him, but let's talk about a little bit more about the band
Sounds good.
when we come back. I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Stay right there. Welcome back to For the Record. I'm Sean Murphy. My guest is Lieutenant Commander Adam Williamson of the United States Coast Guard Band, and he's the head honcho. He's the conductor. Big deal. We talked a lot about you in the first segment, but let's get more into the band.
Sure.
The places you play, the places you've been, the people you've seen, and a lot of them happen right at the Coast Guard Academy itself, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we perform concerts every month at the Coast Guard Academy. They're all free. They're all open to the public. You don't need tickets. You just show up, and we'll put on a great concert.
And that's with all 55
Yes,
members.
all 55. Yeah.
You also do a lot of events, obviously the big stuff that happens at the Coast Guard Academy, the graduation every year, the commencement speech every
That's right.
year.
That's
So
right.
presidents are coming through. And
That's right.
so what schedule are we on this year? Is it just the Department of Transportation guy? Or
We're
whatever?
Department of Homeland Security
Homeland
now.
Security, transportation. Hey,
used to
just
be.
drive the trucks.
Yeah, back I think we made that transition from transportation to Homeland Security
Homeland
in
Security,
2003.
but in a time of war, do you revert to the Navy? Is that how it works? or-
It's I think there is a clause where that can happen. It doesn't necessarily have to, but I believe that the Coast Guard can go under the Navy's wing. But yes, so this
President,
year
not this year.
No, we had President Obama last year, so he's
And he rotates around the academies every year.
I think I don't know that it's set in stone, but we typically do a presidential graduation about every 5 years or so.
So obviously you've played Hail to the Chief many times.
Many times,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so last year we did play for commencement, and President Obama was out, but this last December we were also able to play for the President and the First Family. The Coast Guard Band performed at the National Tree Lighting. That was in D.C., so that was a great event. We were out on the National Mall. President Obama and the First Family sitting there. I think maybe, if I remember correctly, about 12,000 people standing behind them all, and it was a great event. We performed with some big name celebrities: Reese Witherspoon, Trombone Shorty, Bellamy Young. That was a great time.
One thing about this job, you get your tourism in, your sightseeing in too.
Right,
Mostly
yeah.
DC, but,
Yes,
right?
yeah, we see DC a lot.
You
yes.
go down there a lot for other reasons too. Have you been to the actual White House?
I have not.
Okay.
No, we've had groups, small groups, a woodwind quintet or so that goes
When you
there, sure.
perform, and you talked about the other branches of the military, do you ever perform with the bands of the other branches of the military? Have you done that yet? Or is there any reason to do that?
Let's see. We haven't done that in a while. Every now and then there's a joint service band where all the military bands, contribute some members to form a band. Actually, we had our singer musician, first class Megan Weichlinget. She sang at the Super Bowl out in,
that's
San
nice.
Francisco. Yeah, there was a joint service course
okay.
that was put together, so we were able to send her out there. So that was a thrill to watch the Super Bowl pregame show and to see MU1 Weichlinget with all the other military singers.
That's
and
fantastic.
Yeah, that was a thrill.
Now, so you talked about singing a couple times. Is it just? It's not just band playing. You have singers as well.
We have one singer.
Okay, and
Yes.
that's her.
And that's her. Yeah, and she's fantastic. Yep.
Does she perform at all the concerts that you guys perform at?
She performs at all the concerts.
Oh,
yep.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
we usually get her some good stage time.
You get the pretty girl out in front, right?
yeah, she's usually an audience favorite. So
Does she attend all the practices for you, or she kind of do her thing separately, or how does that work?
Well, it depends on it. So much is music driven. If we're doing something that's a decent duration or something that's really challenging, that will warrant more rehearsal time.
Yeah.
But other things come together pretty easily, so we don't.
Everybody's a professional too.
Yeah, yeah. I know.
So, we talked about DC, but you go on tour a little bit too, right?
Yeah, we do travel around the country, which has been fantastic to see all of the continental United States. We've been out to Hawaii as well, which is pretty nice.
What some work that is. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've done a little bit of international travel. It's been a little while, but I think in 2010 we ventured out to Taiwan, and 2008 we were in Japan.
Can't get much further away than that.
Can't get much further away than that. A couple Novembers ago, we were able to travel down to Puerto Rico, so we did a concert tour around the island, and that was very
So
very nice.
you talked about we talked about how smart and talented everyone is in the band. Is everybody a cadet in the band or active
Nobody is
person?
a cadet
Nobody.
in the band.
So it's the opposite.
Yeah, it is, and so. Like I said, we have 55 people. The musicians come in as a first class in the Coast Guard, which is in E6. And as I've said, they've all gone through music school. Most of them come in with a master's degree. I think our most recent hire is a bassoon player. He just finished up his doctoral work at Cincinnati Conservatory. So, very smart and talented people who have, trained at the country's top universities and conservatories. And whenever we have a person leave the band, retire, or separate, then we have to replace that person.
How often does that happen?
On average, we have one a year.
Okay.
Last year, I don't think we had any, and this year we have two, or we had two.
How many years does a typical person put in with the band?
Most people put in a career.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
a wonderful job,
That's
and we're
amazing.
surrounded by these great people. People love the job, and it's a nice place to have a career and to raise a family too. So so most people do put in. We have two retirements coming up. A really fantastic.
Do you guys
trumpet
play your
player.
own gigs?
Yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So we do have a trumpet and a horn opening, so we'll be holding auditions in June. We'll be holding a trumpet audition. We have 2 days set aside. We're expecting a large number of trumpet players.
I was going to ask you, if people take this seriously, and you probably get a horde of people that want to be involved, right? And they're all great.
They're all great, and it's tough. Auditions can be very difficult, and they're sort of interesting. We plan months ahead, months and months ahead. We send out the notification to all the universities and all the music publications that we have an opening, and people who are interested, they get in touch with us, and we send them an audition list. So they learn all this music specifically for audition.
Ahead of time, yeah.
And then on the audition day, we'll have however many people show up. I think for our last trumpet audition, I think we had 120 people show up.
I thought you were going to say you were going to change it up and give them a completely different list.
No,
Let's see
we
how
wouldn't
you
do that.
improvise. Improvise.
We wouldn't do that. But the first round, however many people show up, it's just one after the other. They show up on stage.
How long do they perform for?
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay, so you're in and out.
It's in and out, and the committee that's listening to the players are behind a screen, so they can't see.
Oh, so you're not one of the judges then?
Not for the first round.
It's like American Idol, nothing like that?
Not
I
quite.
found your performance flat.
No, nothing quite like that. No, it's. But the committee is behind a screen, so they can't see who's on stage. So it's a blind audition.
Okay, that makes
sense. And they hear all the people play basically the same things, and then from that, that first number, we usually advance maybe about 5 people.
Wow, out of 120 or something.
Yeah,
What if like Kenny G came in as one of the contestants? Like, would you be able to tell? You would because you could see him, but is his style of sax,
We'd probably be able to
Chuck
tell.
Mangione, something?
Yeah, they're pretty distinctive. So,
Good
yeah.
stuff. Hey, with the new museum coming to New London, are you guys going to be involved in that at all? Or?
Well, the museum has had they've had a lot of activity already. They've already hit a few milestones that the band has already been involved in. Over a year ago, I think we played our first event, which was the official groundbreaking ceremony for them, and that was a big deal. We had it was at the location right on the water, and the congressman came out, the commandant of the Coast Guard, then Admiral
different
Papp,
now, yeah.
Came out. It was a whole big deal. The band was there, of course, so it's Coast Guard's getting its national museum, so
awesome.
That's exciting.
Congratulations on that too.
Thank you.
So there's on the website, obviously, there's a full list of all the events you have coming up.
Absolutely.
I guess we can mention like Memorial Weekend. You have something coming up, right?
Yeah. I'm excited about this event. It's Memorial Day weekend, but I think it's on Sunday, not the Monday Memorial Day. I think it's on Sunday, but it'll be in the afternoon. It's at Fort Trumbull in New London. It should be a really great event. We're hoping a lot of people come out for it, but we'll celebrate Memorial Day. We'll honor all of the services, and we'll have some really special music and just a special program lined up. It should be a really nice event.
A good time will be had by all,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Lieutenant Commander Adam Williamson of the United States Coast Guard Band, the conductor, and former saxophone player.
That's right.
I shouldn't say former because you could still play it. It's just that you
Once
choose.
a saxophonist, always a saxophonist.
That's right. There you go.
Yeah.
One more time on the website for people to go and learn more.
www.uscg.mil/band.
I look forward to more great success with the band. And,
Thank you.
And thank you for being on the show. Hope you'll come back soon.
Would love to.
All right. You can see this show and many others on our YouTube sites. Until next time, I'm Sean Murphy. This is For the Record. Take care.